All right, guys, it's Jahlon, and if you haven't already heard, the Alpha 1 testing for Ashes of Creation has been pushed by about 2 months, resulting in the NDA not dropping this Friday. Originally, we were supposed to move into our non-NDA testing this Friday, but that has been pushed until May 14th. The Alpha 1 start date, which was supposed to be April 6th, is now 1 June. Steven, the creative director, put out a statement on this issue. In our February testing, we hit some challenges and have spent the last few weeks addressing those issues. Of course, at the onset of our Alpha 1 schedule, we acknowledge that we may see some changes as we move through the different phases and undiscovered work becomes visible. And this makes sense. Nobody is going to fault Intrepid for wanting to fix issues. Now, of course, one thing Intrepid cannot undo is that this delay represents 15% of a year. That's a pretty big delay. Also, Intrepid is already 21 months late delivering on Alpha 1. Originally, Alpha 1 was due to start in Q2 of 2019. And the number of things that were supposed to be tested in that original Alpha 1 testing was a lot more than we are currently expecting in this Alpha. Mainly, the fact as it stands right now, we have only seen the Mage, Tank, and Cleric showcase videos, and we've never seen Ranger, which was the fourth archetype in Alpha 0, in any of the developer footage. Now, one thing included in that message to the community yesterday that gave me pause for concern: as we have been addressing these challenges, my team has determined that additional polish is needed in order to guarantee a smoother Alpha 1 testing phase. And yesterday, I approved this NDA extension. I know that is not what you want to hear, but my team and I are committed to excellence for Ashes of Creation, and honestly, this is the purpose of these alphas and betas, to discover issues and address them as early as possible. I'm really hoping that polish was a typo, and that they really mean that they were fixing whatever was broken with the build. Last month, Steven said, "I cannot commit to reopening Alpha 1 sales, so we're going to wait to see if we can get over those issues in a relatively short period of time. And then I will come back and give you guys an update on that front." So why the 8-week delay for polish? Are we working on polish? Are we working on issues? Are we working on trying to have a better showcase for Alpha 1? Because right now, as per usual, things don't add up and the dog doesn't hunt. Remember, we were supposed to be getting the combat revamp in April's testing? And if Intrepid wants to discover issues and address them as early as possible, then maybe worry a little less about the polish and a little bit more about the issue finding. Now, this delay brings into question some serious things, one of which is the length of the push. Now, project management is near and dear to my heart. When you are 1 week out for something and you need an 8-week push, that tells me from the outside one of two things just happened. Either number one, you weren't 1 week out, you were totally off your timetable, which means you've known for weeks you were totally off your timetable, which means this announcement, while better than the ones you've made in the past where you've canceled the same day, was still later than it should have been. Or number two, something disastrous happened and you had a major setback. And we know Intrepid has already experienced some things like this with the APOC setback from December of 2018 to August of 2019. Now, I know right about now, all the white knights are going to jump up and down on me, and they're going to use the Miyamoto quote, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." But the trick here is that for a game to be good, it needs to eventually launch. And that is what some people are fearing about Intrepid Studios, their actual ability to launch Ashes of Creation. Early on, Intrepid had that very aggressive launch date of before 2020. Steven has spoken about this. In early 2020, he talked about how he shied away from hiring producers because he had heard many horror stories of too many producers at other companies causing issues for developers. He went on to say that he onboarded his producers in early 2019 and he scrapped the previous timelines. And as a reasonable customer, I have to accept that you made a mistake and you scrapped those previous timelines. If we say this project started at the end of Kickstarter, then that's June 2017. From there until January 2019, that's 19 months. January 2019 to March 2021, that's 26 months. Let that sink in for a minute. Now we have 45 months of production time total, with the producers coming on board 26 months ago. That's 58% of the project. So while I'm okay with saying you can throw out all of your previous fails, you've had project managers come in, lay out a development timeline, and now the 2-month delay represents an 8% miss. What's absolutely killing Intrepid is they can't decide if they want to play it safe or if they want to hype. We get statements that they want to add more polish. But we have to be honest here for a second. Ashes of Creation has been touting the marketing aspect of Alpha 1 early preview sound bites since 27 March 2020. That's nearly a full year ago. And by the time their Alpha 1 actually opens, it will have been 14 months in the making. So why the hype if you can't deliver on time? The timeline for this testing phase was made public on 16 October 2020. And yes, Steven did say that they might have to change it. But you just missed a 6-month out goal by 2 months. That is a 33% miss. I don't care what project management style you're using, a 33% miss, that's bad. Years ago, Steven would address the community optimistically, and people bought into the project based on that optimism. However, it seems as if recently Intrepid just can't hit a deadline. They've moved from aiming for a target and hitting it to shooting from the hip and calling whatever they hit the target. And that's going to do it for today. I want to remind everybody that I'm just talking as a customer. If anybody thinks this is a hit piece against Intrepid, I just like to say that I could have introduced a whole lot of completely unrelated things, and I could have just kept piling on and piling on and piling on. But the last thing I want to do for Intrepid is interfere with their marketing, interfere with what they're trying to do. They're already going to get a little bit of bad public relations, a little bad media for this. So that's not what I'm trying to do. If anybody thinks that I'm trying to make like things out to be worse than they are. As I've said for years, I hope one day that Intrepid sits down and realizes that the honesty is really the best policy, because when you're honest, the only thing you have to remember is the truth. And then you don't have to worry about some of these things that, while they're mostly true, they carry with them the familiar scent of marketing. And spin is bad, because then every single thing you say that doesn't line up with the party line, then it works against you. It doesn't work for you. I will see you guys next time. If you want to talk about this issue or any other Ashes of Creation issue, join me on my Twitch Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and the link is in the description. Take care.
I say, Sprocket, we've reached the end of another video. Time to thank the sponsors. Yes, that will do, that will do. Shall we pop off for a spot of tea?